Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, That Conversation with Repinya. And tonight I'm going to be reviewing Housewives of Atlanta, episode 13. You know how we do it. We start off with the 3 categories. And sometimes I like to change it up a little bit. So in this one, I'm going to do the Bozo Clown Award. And I'm going to start with that one. So the Bozo Clown Award goes to yours truly, Marlo. And you'll see why. She gets the Bozo Award because Marlo is the ultimate clown with the red nose. She did way too much in this episode. Then we're going to give Laid and Slayed to Kenya Moore. I know, I already know what you're thinking, but go back and watch the episode and then you'll see why. Hands down, the dress that she wore at the dinner, hey, was beautiful, period. You can't help it if you're just stunning. You can't help that. So we're going to give Laid and Slayed to Kenya Moore. Now the MVP is going to go to, actually, I want to give it to Candy and Todd because, you know, they were sparring with Marlo, or actually Candy was. So we're going to give MVP to Candy because Candy gave her that TKO. So she kind of like got with Marlo at the end of the episode, which was good. It was a long time coming. So great job, Candy. So the episode starts off with Kenya Moore packing. So she's packing for the Jamaica trip. And she gets an incoming call. She gets a FaceTime call from Drew. And she and Drew start talking about the lackluster party that Sonya threw for Sheree. And again, Drew was saying how it was cheap and looked like a Party City party. And the decorations were cheap and all that stuff. Then they start talking about the Jamaica trip and how Sonya was giving them like instructions on what they can wear, how they need to wear their hair, how they are to act on the trip, all of that. So, you know, they weren't feeling that. They're not paying any attention to Sonya. None of them are. Because if they're going to cut up, they're going to cut up. So in the next scene, we are at Drew's house with Ralph and Drew. So Drew is talking to Ralph, and Ralph is funny in this little scene because he was throwing some shade at Drew. He was saying, can you turn the air on, because he doesn't want Drew's wig to lift, because he says when it's hot her wig lifts. And I'm like, really, Ralph? It was kind of funny, but it was still a little bit shady at the same time. And so he did let us know that he did like the one wig that Drew wears. It's called the Sasha wig, and it's kind of like all black, and it's long and flowing. And Bravo actually showed a picture, and Drew looked really cute there. So he was sharing that with her. Also, they were talking about, Drew had brought up to Ralph, you know, she was trying to understand why he has not adopted her son, Josiah. And I guess that was a conversation that they had in the past, to where he, I guess, agreed to adopt Josiah, but he never did. So she was kind of wondering why he's not going to do it, or what the hesitation is. Later on, we get into that, but at this time, Ralph is inviting the publisher over because Ralph is writing a book on step parenting. And he's going to invite the publisher over. He wants to do a better introduction of the publisher than he did with the assistant, because he didn't do the proper introduction with the assistant. And we think allegedly, that something may have been going on with the, well, at least Drew has alluded to something going on with the assistant. So this time around, he wants to make sure he brings the publisher over to meet Drew in a proper fashion. And so the publisher does come over, and they get to talking about the book, and Drew is taken aback because she's like, how is it that she's not able to kind of like read the book? If he's writing a book on parenting on her biological child that she doesn't have with him, how is it that Ralph is not allowing her to at least read the book or read some parts of the book? And she expresses to him that she doesn't feel comfortable with that. The publisher was talking to Drew and letting Drew know that what they're going to try to do with the photography part of the book is have Ralph's picture in the front of the book, and then I guess Drew and the family in the back of the book. And during this scene, they let Drew know that they would like for her to write the foreword. And Drew was like, how am I going to write the foreword for the book, and I haven't gotten a chance to read the book? She doesn't even know what's in the book. For all she knows, he can be, discussing things that they've gone through. And I'm with her. I don't feel like it's fair that you can ask her to write the foreword, and she has not read the book. It doesn't make sense, Ralph. I don't get that. I wouldn't do it. I feel like she should be allowed to read the book, right? But maybe, I don't know how far along Ralph is with this book though, because if he's already to the end of the book, if she reads it, perhaps she might want to make some edits or some changes, and maybe he doesn't want to go through that. But I don't know, Ralph, I don't know, he just does not include her in anything. He makes all the decisions without her, and he doesn't include her, and I feel like that's wrong. I don't agree with that. So in the next scene, this is really a cute scene. We have Sanya working out with her husband, Ross. We find out that Ross's best friend is the trainer that's going to be like kind of working them out. Sanya and them are going to Jamaica, and she kind of want to get in shape, her and her husband, for the Jamaica trip. But, they're both in shape, so I don't know. So the trainer is Ross's best friend, which is married to Sanya's sister. So that's super cute. So they're working out. And then the cute part was when they had like baby Ducey, like, so Sanya's son and then her sister's kids working out. And I think they all have boys, and they were working out. It was super cute to see them, their little family dynamic. That was a cute scene. So now we're going to be heading out. Going to be heading in the direction of going to the Jamaica trip, and we find out that Sanya, she actually rents 2 Sprinter vans. So she's going to have half of the ladies go in one van, and then she's going to go into another van. So she gets the 2 Sprinter vans. We find out that she gets the vans because she wants to make sure everyone gets to the airport on time. She doesn't want to have people showing up late to the airport, because how these ladies are, they come when they want to come. So she got the 2 Sprinter vans just to make sure that they are on time. So now, we just gonna mosey on over to the Jamaica trip. So we arrive to Jamaica. So we going over to Jamaica. So we arrive to Jamaica, and it's all good vibes, right? So everyone's like, we're in Jamaica, yay! You know how when you first get to your destination, especially if you're on vacation, and you're just all excited, and you're like, everybody's good, everyone's getting along. That's how it was. So they came in, and the concierge was greeting them with drinks, and everybody was excited. But, Sanya has to figure out a way to be messy. So Sanya gets to... once they get to Jamaica, Sanya was asking Kenya, where's your +1 in front of everyone, and she was letting her know that she was gonna have her cousin come, but her cousin got sick. She actually caught COVID, so her cousin got sick, and then Sanya got in the confessional. Like, first Kenya was sick, now her cousin is sick. So she was trying to clown, you know, uh, Kenya on that. But whatever, Kenya doesn't care. She's still there. And you know what was cool? We see that Manetta brought her husband. So Manetta was there with her husband. Candy and Todd was there. Drew, her husband, was there. I'm just going to kind of go over people and their plus ones. Marlo brought her florist. Really? And of course, Drew and Ralph were there. So all the couples are there. Candy and Todd as well. All the couples are there. So when they get when they get to Jamaica, they all get into like the golf carts, because they have to take them. They actually have to drive golf carts to the resort, right? So we have Sanya and Kenya in the same golf cart. So as they're driving in a golf cart, Sanya and Kenya, they see a guy, and then there's a guy waving to them. And so, of course, Sanya, she drives on over there to the guy, and she just starts asking him, hey, how you doing? Basically, are you single? Like, she was not holding back at all, trying to play matchmaker for Kenya. And he was like, yeah, he's single. And so she was kind of asking him all kind of questions and stuff like that. We find out that the guy's name is John. And so, long story short, Sanya ends up inviting him to dinner. So, so it seems like he and Kenya were hitting it off. He seemed like he was interested in Kenya. Of course, Kenya, she's a cutie pie, so of course he's going to be interested in her. So so they exchange numbers, and then they're off to the resort. So when they get to the resort, Sanya lets everyone know that since it's Kenya's birthday, she did some nice things for Kenya. Like, she put like rose petals down. So Sanya is pretending that she's like doing all this stuff for Kenya, but on the side in her confessional, she's saying slick stuff, right? So she's telling people that, Kenya has been nice nasty to me. So, I just want to make sure she has a good time and that she's happy. So she made sure she made her room all nice, got her some extra little towels and decor, and she laid rose petals down. And I'm like, Sanya, this is like your first season on Housewives. So you don't even know Kenya or have known Kenya long enough to feel any type of way but clout chase. So I don't understand. So we're at the resort. The resort is stunning. The resort is very beautiful, and Candy lets us know that she has actually stayed at that particular resort before, and I'm not surprised. I'm sure Candy has traveled everywhere. So as usual, before you get a room, there's always like a game that they play. So what Sanya did was she said that she's going to be getting the rooms out, or the rooms are going to be given contingent upon who treated her the nicest. So we know that Marlo, she was the first one to get a room because Sanya has attached herself to Marlo, and so now they're the two live crew. So Marlo's like, okay, I'm going to get my room, you guys. I'm going to get my nice room, because Marlo was chosen first because for some reason they're BFFs right now. Then she gave the rooms out accordingly. It was funny because Candy said, well, if you're going off of that, who treated you the nicest? Well, she said Drew's going to be in the closet. So I thought that was super funny because, she and Drew have this weird thing, this beef, that Sanya has caked up for some reason. But, she ended up giving Drew a very nice room. She had a very, very nice room. Might I add that Sanya's suite was gorgeous. She and her husband got like a very, very, very nice room. So, yeah, that place was super nice. In the next scene, they show Kenya in her room, and then they show someone at the door. So at the door is John. So the new guy that Kenya met is John. So he came over and met with Kenya in her room, and they had like some drinks. I think they were drinking Red Bull. And so Kenya was just kind of letting him know that, okay, you're going to go to dinner with me. And she was giving him a heads up that her friends, that the ladies were going to grill him. So she was letting him know that they're going to be asking all kind of questions. So kind of like prepare yourself. So everyone gets to dinner. And it was so much going on at this dinner. In walks Kenya and John. And so they sit down, and you can just look at the ladies. The ladies was just like eyeing him, like they couldn't wait to start like getting on him or asking him questions and, you know, grilling him. And I think it was it Todd? Oh, Ralph. I think Ralph was like, oh, can you get her groove back? And I thought that was funny when he said that. So, you know, they all sit down there at the dinner table, and so they start asking him all kinds of questions, like weird questions. They were asking, like, you know, how old you are. And he was like, well, how old do you think I am? I think we discovered that he's actually 38. So he's a little bit younger. And I know in the confessional, the producers were asking Kenya, I thought you said you wouldn't date anyone young. And Kenya was like, no, I never said that. Roll the tapes back. I've never said that. I think she said that she would date, I think up until the age of 60. So I'm not sure the number she had said, but she was like letting them know, no. She's like, no, I never said that. I never said I wouldn't date anyone younger than me. So they were asking John, do he wear tighties or boxers, which is kind of ridiculous or too much. And he said he goes commando. I was like, John, TMI, too much information. I don't understand why he even said anything like that. It's crazy. So Sheree switches gears and she asks Ralph how the book thing is going. And, you know, he starts, sharing some things with her and them about the book. And Marlo chimes in. So Marlo is like, I commend you, Ralph, for adopting, Josiah. And Ralph shares with her that, actually he had a conversation with Josiah's bio dad, and since that dad is not on board with him adopting Josiah, he said he's not going to do it. What did he say that for? And here comes Marlo. She starts attacking Ralph. Like, she starts, letting him know that, it's a trigger for her because she's a foster kid. She was a foster kid. So she feels like him saying that he would adopt him and then now changing his mind and not adopting him, she feels like it wasn't right. So she was expressing all of her disdain for his decision not to adopt, Drew's son, as if she can do that. Like, it's the audacity for me when it comes to Marlo. Like, she had said so much negative stuff. I can't even repeat it anymore. I'm going to try to get through this scene, but it was just so much, right, that you wouldn't believe. So she was just talking negatively and really like coming down on Ralph, and it just doesn't seem like Ralph and Drew were even kind of defending themselves. And she was saying so much stuff, to the point where Candy just jumped in. She was like, hey, wait a minute, Marlo. How could you say anything about Drew or about Ralph not adopting Josiah, when, Josiah knows he has two dads. Like, Ralph has been in his life. That's the only dad, he knows, and he loves Josiah. How could you say anything when you kicked not one but both of your nephews out, and kicked them out and had them go stay with their aunt where she only had 2 bedrooms and she has 4 toddlers, right? So you took them from their cozy, comfy place at your place, right, on some selfish stuff. For what? And now you're inserting yourself in Ralph's decision not to adopt Josiah. Like, it was too much. So Candy was letting her know, no, you have your own situation. Like, you can't say anything. Well, what'd she say that for? So she and Candy start going back and forth. And Marlo went too far. Marlo started talking about Candy's husband, saying, alluding to Candy financially taking care of her husband as if he's broke and he doesn't have anything. When we know that Todd, he's the one that started, the restaurant industry for he and his wife. They have a restaurant called Blaze. They have numerous OLG restaurants, right? And these were all, the brain of it all was Todd. So for her to even try to come that hard on Todd was ridiculous. Then she was talking about Candy, saying, Candy, you're only known in Atlanta. Candy let her know, bleep, I'm worldwide. We know Candy Burris, she wrote many songs, many hits. She was an escape at a young age. We know that Candy is worldwide. I don't even understand why this would get under Candy's. Why would Candy even entertain this? Marlo is reaching. She's ridiculous. She's making up stuff. She just pulled things out of nowhere just to get like reactions out of people. I'm not falling for it. And she just went on and on. She talked about Candy's mom. She was talking about Candy's parenting. She did all kind of stuff, to get under Candy's skin. And I heard that the argument lasted for a long time, to where that they had to edit out a lot of stuff. So it was just crazy. It was crazy. It was draining. It seems like every episode was just out of control, and Marlo's in the center of it. At this point, it's just like, come on. Real Housewives of Atlanta was not like this at all. It was shade thrown. People got into it and stuff like that, but you just never go this far. Marlo said in the previous episodes that she would never talk about, kids, because kids are off limits, husbands are off limits, but she talked about Kenya's daughter, right? So when someone mentions her, not the nephews, because she's trying to spin it and make it seem like Candy had talked about her nephews, when Candy only talked about her, her parenting, her being a momty and giving her nephews away. That was just about Marlo, not about the nephews. So, she just went on and on. And Sonya, what I don't understand about Sonya talked about Kenya. She said that Kenya ruined the trip that Marlo threw. But clearly, you see that Marlo was cutting up on this trip. But Sonya doesn't say anything. I don't understand that. Make it make sense, Sonya. You don't say anything about Marlo cutting up on this trip. I don't understand. I don't. And they went super far, like, because Candy has a YouTube channel, and she kind of let us know on her YouTube channel, it's called Speak On It, that they were really going at it. Like, they were saying some really, like, crazy things to each other. But Marlo was the worst of the worst. So at the end of this, they finally, after Sonya does say, like, man, I was trying to have a good time in Jamaica, and it was just, it's so bad that Sonya was like, wow. The ladies ended up apologizing. It had gotten crazy to where Todd let us know that, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Todd did let us know that how Marlo even got into the circle at Real Housewives of Atlanta is that she paid her way in. Marlo is trying to let us know or tell us that it was Phaedra that brought her in, but because we know that Todd worked in production for Real Housewives of Atlanta before he married Candy, he knows that Marlo paid her way in. So yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans in this episode, you guys. So much so that Kenya's date, they turned the camera on him and he was out of there. I mean, he was like, I'm not doing this. So he was out of there. And then when they panned the camera over to Manetta and her husband, Manetta's husband, it was priceless. He was rolling. He was watching the back and forth and he was rolling. But what he don't know, the longer he and his wife stay on the show, you guys will be next. So I cannot. This has been something, right? And dealing with Marlo, I don't know. Marlo, I'm done. I'm done with this. So that was the end of the episode, you guys. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop another video. Bye.